Gordon, can you give us an insight into changing consumer trends in the food industry?
Yes, the big change started after the financial crisis in '98. Then people really had to take care how much they could spend on their household. And then we saw major changes between species, people going down from premium cuts down to less premium cuts, and really looking after what they could afford to spend. Mm-hmm. And then together with this, the younger generation have much more variety. They're looking for much more variety in their food. They travel to Thailand, they come back, they want spicy Thai food or wherever it is. So they want much more variety, and therefore, especially when you sell through the retail chain, the life cycle of products in the retail side is quite short. So that changes very, very regularly. And then for people like equipment suppliers or processors, they must be already thinking what is going to be the change in the future, and do we have the equipment, etc., to process that.
Yeah. If we talk about generations, how many generations do we have out there in the market?
What the retail experts say today, we are dealing with 4 generations. I haven't quite yet worked out where those. But yes, I can understand that. We are quite different in age, and I ate differently when I was your age than what you eat today. That's for sure.
Yeah. And food safety is on the table always.
Yes, food safety, but you cannot pick up a product in the supermarket and it says so. You are dependent that here in Europe, the supermarkets have done their due diligence and homework, and yes, they do. I can assure you that somebody like Tesco, for example, has a whole team going to their suppliers all the time and making sure that things have been produced with animal welfare, with the food safety side of it, and more with the environment in mind also. So all those key, what I call strategic decisions for the consumer. The consumer will not buy a product unless he knows that that has been looked after for him.
If we talk about traceability, can you elaborate a little bit on that?
The traceability, really, this is more, the consumer takes it for granted. Mm-hmm. He takes it for granted that, well, first he takes it for granted that he won't get sick. So traceability is more of an industry that if something happens, you can see where it comes from, what happened, to ensure that it will not happen again. Mm-hmm. And you know, when you look at there are major recalls by major companies on many occasions, both in Europe and in the US.
If we look to the future, how will we see the meat industry in 10 years?
There will still be a growth, but the growth here in Europe, we don't expect more than sort of a 1%, maximum 1% a year growth. Then it's a question of who has the best products. Beef, I think, will come back. It's been hit a lot over the last 2 or 3 years, but people like beef. Although, Europe is a pork eater. Mm-hmm. Europe and China are the 2 pork eaters. That is not going to change. Really difficult to substitute pork at the breakfast table. Very difficult. So I don't see lots of major change, but within the categories, to have the product that's going to excite people and to change, and that is then up to the processors to be, and together with the equipment suppliers, to provide new things all the time.